John Beltran, Dave Urich back from Beet Digger Stadium in Brush, where the Wray Eagles have had the Beet Diggers number for a long time. The Beet Diggers had won 9 in a row in this series, and then starting in 1993, Wray put together a stretch in which they won 9 out of 10 games against the Beet Diggers through last year. Even in 1994, and again, we thank Terry Clough for all these numbers. When the Beet Diggers won the state championship, Wray, I believe, won that game 8-7 during the regular season. But it started in 93. These teams did not play from 06 through 09. But, Dave, I think it was a good thing to renew this series.
Oh, absolutely. Especially, when you think about the economy and with the pressure on the schools. Look at the crowd we have here. I'm looking out the window here right before half, and all the way here to the north of the field where the Eagles fans always sit, and then all the way over here to the south of the field where our kids and our band usually sit. It's packed all the way from end to end. So there's a lot of people here, and anytime you have a chance to reignite that rivalry and then give people a chance to play, within an hour or so of each other where it's not such a long drive, it's
right.
A beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's great to do that. And when it's going to be a quality game. In fact, the only time since 93 the Beet Diggers have beaten the Eagles was our first year doing football together in 2003 when Brush needed a 2-point conversion from Greg Geno to win 22-21. We remember the end zone. We remember the circumstance. Beet Diggers were down 21-14. Geno scored, then got in for the 2 points. But that's how tight this series has been. You can't even call it a rivalry right now because Wray has dominated the series.
Yeah, they've just been they're just like they are tonight. They're just so physical. You see them when they're tackling, they're flying in there and putting their shoulder pads on people and not just running up and grabbing a hold of people. So, just a real physical ball club over there, and you can tell they're playing with that enthusiasm. Every single time they tackle one of our kids, they put the hurt on them, and then they celebrate it. They're jumping around telling each other what a great job they did hitting one of the Diggers. So, that kind of shocks you a little bit when you're not used to that intensity. And, frankly, we don't see that same sort of intensity in our league.
Yeah, that's the problem, is that Wray would do very well in the Patriot League. I mean, they certainly have talent that is beyond what we've seen from many other teams in previous years and what we'll see later on this year.
Well, last week at Faith Christian, they were some great athletes, some big, strong kids, but we didn't see them flying around and playing with this enthusiasm like what Wray plays with.
Cade Reinick and Preston Talbert are the deep men. Jesus Cardenas, excuse me, I think I'm losing my voice a little bit, to kick it off here in the second half, which would make my wife happy. Wray 7, Brush nothing as we go to the third. The Beet Diggers have got to force Wray into some lackluster field position because the Eagle offense has been pretty good over the opening 24 minutes. Jesus boots that football high and pretty deep, and that's going to bounce into the end zone off one hop at the 4-yard line. So the Beet Diggers already with a positive play, even though they didn't have to make a tackle to begin the third.
Yeah, that's a definite asset when your kicker can kick it into the end zone and pin that team back on their 20 right off the bat. Well, that's a good thing.
The Eagles have it 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. The quarterback is Cade Reinick. They've used a bevy of backs, including Jack Schwinn, Derek Schultz, and Austin Willard. And as Dave alluded to at halftime, the passing game has been pretty good so far for the Eagles. Reinick has worked out of a shotgun now. He is under center. That Maryland eye handoff to the second man through. That's Schwinn, who broke a tackle, but not a second. Across the 20 to the 23. Gain of 3 yards in the play. The tackle was made by Daniel Soto. 2nd down and 7.
Tackle was a little bit high. That's what allowed Schwinn to keep running down the field.
Yeah, and Soto looks like he's shaken up. And Sean McConnell's checking in. And you can actually get hurt. And actually, it's an equipment issue, so he's okay, but he had to step out because of a helmet issue. 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right, 2nd and 7. Shotgun formation for Wray from their own 23. And we've got movement on the offensive line. A false start. That's the one thing that's happened with the Eagles at the end of the second quarter. Now at the beginning of the third, they've been a little bit sloppy with the penalties.
Yep, they got 25 yards of them now, and it couldn't happen at a better time for the Diggers.
2nd down and close to 13 yards. The ball just shy of the 18-yard line. We're in the opening minute of the third quarter. Wray 7, Brush nothing on a run of nearly 2 yards by Cade Reinick. He's in a shotgun. 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. He has the football, high snap, it gets by him. He chases it down at the 5, throws off his back foot, and the pass is going to be caught along the sideline at the 23-yard line by Talbert, who came back for the football. The Beat Diggers couldn't take advantage of that. He threw it about 20 yards across the field, and they actually pick up 6 yards on the play. 3rd down and 6. Boy, the Beat Diggers could have had a big play there on defense, but instead, Wray goes forward.
Yeah, he just came back to the ball. It was a good play there by Tolbert and just a heads-up play there by Reinick. You could tell he threw it to where, at least if he didn't complete it, a Digger wasn't going to get it, and he wasn't going to suffer a sack.
3rd and 6 from their own 24. Again in a shotgun. Reinick rolls to his right. Pressure coming. He drops the football. It's still loose, and Seawald tries to fall on it, and he tries to out-wrestle Reinick for the football, but Reinick actually fell on the ball back at the 10. Reinick became unglued here. They lost 14 yards on the play. 4th down and 20 to go for Wray at their own 10.
Yeah, that was a great play there by Seawald as he just stayed on it and kept the pressure there. He had his hands out wide, and, boy, he jumped on it. And what happened was Reinick got the ball. He was on the ground, and Seawald jumped on him and wrapped his arm around it and tried to tear it away.
Austin Willard to punt. Can the Beat Diggers take advantage on special teams? Eric Garcia standing in Wray territory at the 47. Beat Diggers might come with pressure. Awaiting the snap. Blake on the outside. Here he comes, but Willard gets it off the side of his foot towards the Beat Diggers sideline. Bounces to 35. Takes a huge Wray roll to the 45-yard line. A punt of 35 yards. Not too bad, but the Beat Diggers have very good field position, down 7-0 in the third with 9:25 remaining.
One of those plays, though, where there was enough time to field the football, so you got to hustle over there and try to stop that ball from rolling down the field.
1st and 10 for the Beat Diggers at the Wray 45-yard line. If they can't get the running game going, they've got to do it through the air and tie this ball game up. On homecoming night, Gregory Maris, the homecoming king, and Lauren Waltman, the homecoming queen. Congratulations to those two. 1st and 10 from the Wray 45-yard line to begin the drive. Tormolen hands it off right up the gut and nothing. Eric Garcia is stood up and brought down. Jack Schwinn must have about 100 tackles tonight. He made the play.
Yeah, we just tried to run that dive over the left side at 25, and Garcia was playing the halfback on that side. And, man, as soon as he got the football, he tried to step to the side and run around him, but I'll tell you what, Schwinn was in the backfield so deep that there was no way he could make anything out of that play.
2nd down and 10 for the Wray 45-yard line. Albo's the receiver to the right. Carter and Lee are now in the backfield. Tormolen is going to take the football and going to try to sneak it up the middle, but that should be a flag. Well, I don't see a flag. It just looked like that Tormolen wasn't ready for the snap, and I think it was snapped prematurely, but yet I don't see a flag.
None of our linemen moved except for our center that snapped it, so they can't really call a penalty for a false start on the Diggers.
Well, that's what they're going to do. But even Tormolen is saying that that's not right. And he's correct. The ball was snapped. You have to go with that play.
Yep.
Randy Dreitz doesn't like it at all, and I don't blame him. I mean, it was a mistake, more than likely on the center, but still. It'll be 2nd down and 15, just shy of the 50.
Yep, one of those deals where he snapped the ball too soon. You could tell they were talking about going on a short count or a long count. They've talked about changing their count, and obviously that's caused some confusion there. But I didn't see any of the other offensive linemen or anybody even in the backfield move when the ball was snapped.
2nd down and 15. Brett Bostrom checks in late. The Beat Diggers better get this play off. Second down and 15. They're inside of 3 seconds on the play clock. Back to throw Tormolen. Screen pass incomplete. Intended for Blake. He was almost being blocked over there by Austin Willard. Well, that was a mess. 3rd down and 15 to go from the 50. And there was obvious confusion. And Coach Dreitz is a few steps out into the field.
Well, there was so much pressure on Chamolan. He needed to give Blake needed to look back for the ball because the ball got there a little faster than what he wanted it to be there. But there was so much pressure on Chamolan. Chamolan was backpedaling as fast as he could, and he had to get rid of it.
Your one-stop shop for all of your banking and investment needs, from checking to savings to IRAs, is Morgan Federal Bank, 321 Ensign Street. Morgan Federal Bank, there's a difference. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. 3rd and 15 from the 50. Bead Diggers are going backwards. Bostrom in the backfield. And Tormolen back to throw. Pressure coming. Rolls to his left. Throws it over the middle. The pass is incomplete. Towards the sideline, actually. Behind Eric Garcia at the 35. It's 4th down. The Bead Diggers are going to have to punt, Dave. If they can't move forward, you cannot go for it here on 4th and 15 at the 50.
No. And Garcia was wide open. Had it been thrown lower, he would have caught it. It would have been a first down. But the Diggers are just flustered right now as they didn't line up right. You know, they were lined up in a blue formation where their halfback's on the left side, and then Tremolin really quick had to shift him over to the right side, and they were already in a hurry to begin with. So it was one of those things where we were just flustered and probably lucky that something bad didn't happen.
Tyler Stratman to punt, standing at his own 36. Perfect snap. Here comes the pressure. He gets it off. End over end punt. It's going to be caught by Reineck at the 20-yard line. Breaks a tackle at the 25, still on his feet at the 30, along the right sideline to the 35, and he's out of bounds, dragged out of bounds by Randy Baker over there at the 38, a return of 18 yards. And that was key right there, and it was a low-line drive punt. That's why Reineck had running room.
Yeah, we just missed some tackles back there. Kind of ran down there and tried to grab a hold of him, but Reineck just showing a lot of strength and just running away from people. He changed directions a couple times, and we weren't really spread out. When you tell your offense, when you punt the football, you tell all the guys when they're hustling down the field to stay spread out and kind of surround the guy, but we were kind of all in one bunch when we got down there, and he just ran around us.
8:04 remaining third quarter. Wray leads Brush on homecoming night in Brush, 7-0. Under center is Reineck, 3 in the backfield, 1st and 10 at their own 38, and Reineck will hand it off right up the gut. The Bead Diggers are right there to meet Austin Willard. Ethan Brost threw him back, along with Carlos Carrillo. Almost like a loss of 1. But they're going to say no gain. 2nd down and 10 at the 38.
Boy, the Digger defense has really zeroed in on that running game of Wray, but they're going to have to be ready now because Wray was going to that misdirection stuff at the beginning of the game, which was pretty effective for him on the ground. So we're going to have to watch out as they try to start changing things up and sending the ball the other way.
Reineck now in a shotgun. The Bead Diggers need a break here to get in a better field position, and there's the give off the right side at Jack Schwinn. He dives to the 40, maybe has 2 yards, but he ran into a wall. The first wall was Felix Calderon. 3rd down, and they're going to call it 9, a gain of less than a yard.
So Schwinn was lined up just to the left of Reineck, and then Reineck received the snap out of shotgun formation. He just ran right in front of Reineck, and Reineck handed him the ball, right in the breadbasket, and they tried to run it over here to the right side. But like you said, there was just a whole bunch of Diggers that were right there ready to go, and that's kind of that misdirection sort of stuff that we were talking about.
Talbert and Churchwell are the receivers to the left. 3rd and 9 from their own 39-yard line. Reineck in a shotgun, has the football, rolls to his left, sets up, now he's going to take off with the football, now throws to his right. The pass is dropped at the 42-yard line to a wide-open Austin Reed. He would have had some running room, but I think the Bead Diggers would have had him short of the first down marker.
Yeah, he was going to get clocked there is what I think. I think Ethan Brost was about ready to put a shoulder pad right on him.
So now Wray has to punt. But again, Dave, this is a 7-0 game that feels like a wider margin because of the lack of offensive momentum.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, I really feel like Ray's starting to panic a little bit offensively as well. And even though we're behind and we're feeling that sense of panic ourselves, they're ahead and they're thinking, we got to do something because these guys are going to come back on us.
Let's see if Eric Garcia can put together a nice punt return. Austin Willard at his own 29, perfect snap, and he gets it off barely, but high and extremely short at the 44-yard line of Brush, and it's still rolling to the 40. That's it. That's a punt of only 21 yards, so the Bead Diggers still have very, very good field position.
You betcha. That was awesome. We had some decent pressure there. I was a little bit worried as we had a lot of guys getting really close to their punter. I was afraid that we were going to have a roughing the kicker call, but we had a lot of discipline there, and the Diggers did a good job of holding up and just barely touching him.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm agent Greg Mullen is there. Let Greg Mullen work with you to get the discounts you desire and the coverage you need. State Farm agent Greg Mullen. 6:21 to go, third quarter. Ray 7, Brush nothing. 1st and 10 for the Bead Diggers at their own 40-yard line, 3 in the backfield. Tormolen's going to hand it off to the deep man. Carter running left to the 45 along the left sideline with a stiff arm across the 50. First down to the Wray 47, maybe the 48-yard line. And that's the best running play of the night for the Beat Diggers, a gain of close to 13 for Tyler Carter.
That takes Carter up to 20 yards tonight. And it was a good play. It was sort of an ISO out of that T formation where they kind of lead block Carter over here to the left side. And boy, the Diggers just ran right at. They didn't run right at him, but they ran right off the corner of the Eagle defense. And the Eagles are still in that 6-man front.
Yep, second straight possession. Beat Diggers are in Wray territory. 1st and 10 from their 47. Tormolen with a long count. Now quarterback sneak right up the gut, still on his feet. Down at the 45. Picks up 2. And the initial hit was made by Jaden Valco. And Austin Willard also in on the play. Let's see if they might give him the 44, but Tormolen saw a seam up the middle. I'd say he got close to 3. They'll mark it just shy of the 44. Officially 2nd down and 7 with 5:23 to go in the third, and Wray up by a touchdown. Again, 3 in the backfield. Beat Diggers going with that same formation from the Wray 44. And we've got a flag thrown by the referee. Illegal procedure against Brush. I did not see it, but that's the penalty, and it'll send the Beat Diggers back. That's wrong. They just marked it back about 6 yards. I mean, do these guys know math?
I'm confused about that because Tormolen wasn't even under center. He didn't even put his hands under center when they threw that flag already.
Well, they just placed that football on the other side of the 50. And it's 2nd and a long 12. So I don't know if they know their math correctly, but that shouldn't be the case. Under 5 minutes to go, third quarter. And the Beat Diggers are looking for some life on offense. Moments ago, they had a 13-yard run from Tyler Carter. Under center is the Beat Digger Jr. In motion to the left is Garcia. Tormolen back to throw, looking to his left. Up the left side, and that pass is incomplete. Eric Garcia at the 20-yard line was well defended. And Tormolen did a nice job of essentially just throwing it over everybody because he had nothing there.
Yeah, he just threw it. There was 3 guys that are covering Garcia. Nobody else was on the pattern. He did a good job just throwing it deep. At least if Garcia was going to make a play on it, he was the only one that was going to be able to do it.
Well, the thing is, Dave, is that they have been unable to get Eric Garcia in isolation.
Yeah, and he's a playmaker, but he only has -1 yards for total offense tonight.
Albo's the receiver to the right. He's got a catch tonight. 3rd down and 12 with a football at the 50-yard line. Tormolen back to throw, rolling right, pressure coming, takes off with the football, throws on a run, that pass is incomplete. Intended for Sean McConnell at the 41-yard line of Wray. 4th down, and the Beat Diggers will have to punt again.
Yeah, still 88 yards for Tormolen, only completing 5 of 14 passes. But at least that time we had that running game going there for, on that first play where Tyler Carter ran for about 13 yards.
Well, let's see if Tyler Stratman can get off an excellent punt once again. He's been pretty effective tonight for the most part. Cade Reinick standing at his 14. Stratman awaits the snap. It's perfect. He gets it off, and this is a spiraling punt. It'll bounce at the 25-yard line, take a huge Beat Digger roll inside the 15 to the 12. That gets the job done. That is a 38-yard punt with a roll for Tyler Stratman.
Just a beautiful punt, a tight spiral, wasn't it? It leveled out, and it just carried down the field. And you knew just by the way that ball was flying through the air when it hit, it was going to give us a good Beat Digger roll.
With 4:32 to go in the third quarter, Wray 7, Brush nothing. I think the Beat Diggers are just going to have to force a turnover here. They almost had one on Wray's first possession of this third quarter when the quarterback Reinick dropped the football. They could have had it at the 10-yard line. But Reinick was able to jump on it just before Maverick Sewall did. In a shotgun is Reinick from his own 12. He has the football, high snap. He'll run to his left, and Bryant Woodward throws him down for a loss. Felix Calderon also in there in the backfield, back at the 9-yard line, a loss of 3. And the Beat Digger defense has really come to play in this third quarter.
Yeah, Reinick only 25 yards now offense after he had 42 there for a while, but he took 2 big sacks the last 2 times he touched the football.
second down, and we'll call it 13 yards. The ball is just inside the 10. They've got to get to the 23. Two receivers split each side. Reineck is under center. Austin Willard is the lone setback. Just shy of the 10. Back to throw is Reineck, looking to his right, throws underneath. Pass is going to be caught by Schultz, but he's tackled at the 10. A gain of maybe half a yard, and Trevor Blake made an excellent play along the right sideline. Third down, and we'll call it about 12.
It was just a beautiful tackle there by Blake. He flew in there, his head was in front of him, and he tackled him below the hips. So whenever you tackle low like that, good things are going to happen.
Need a sack here or a turnover or something. This could be a momentum changer for either team. If Wray picks up the first down on a 3rd and 12 and keep the drive going, they could take this ball into the fourth quarter. Leading by a touchdown, 3rd and 12, just outside their own 10. Reineck, 3-step drop, will take off with the football, running to his right, across the 15, back to the inside of the 20. He dives, but he's short of a first down at the 22. Austin Willard says it's a first down, but, oh, boy, they're giving him a pretty generous spot there. I still think he's short by about half a yard. It'll be a gain of 12, and they might have to measure, but I'm telling you, Dave, his knee was down at around the 21.5, and he just stretched that football out.
The Diggers had him right up there at the line of scrimmage, but just the great athlete that Reineck is, he took a jab step to the inside. Our linebacker went with that first jab step, and then he just ran right around him for another 10 yards.
This will be extremely close with 2:56 to go in the third. Platte Valley Hearing Center at 417 Main Street in Fort Morgan, getting your hearing to its very best. Platte Valley Hearing Center, and that is going to be short by just about 3 inches. I mean, you never go for it from your own 22-yard line. Will check that. Will Wray take that chance? Platte Valley's here in 2 weeks.
You know, they have such a good quarterback, and last time they were in this position, they went up there with a goose and go, and usually the defense is waiting for the count. They'll go up there and line up and just get under center and just run straight ahead. And you know, that's what I expect them to do, because Reineck's their player. He's the guy that's going to carry the ball here if they decide to go for it, which they are.
Yeah, they're going to go for it. 4th and about 2 inches from their own 22. This could be a quick count. Reineck under center is going to sneak it to his right. That's a first down easily. He gained 2 yards in a play to the 24. And again, that would sound risky, but you're right. That's not really a risk when you have that little to gain and you're under center. So the drive continues, and the Eagles might be able to take this into the fourth quarter, leading 7-0.
You know, they didn't run that goose and go right up the gut either. You know, once he got the snap, he actually rolled over to the right and ran right in between his guard and his tackle.
1st and 10, Wray at their own 24-yard line, 3 in the backfield. Reineck will hand it off to the deep man, and that is Jaden Valco, and he's hit for a gain of 1. Ethan Brose, check that, Derek Schultz. So gain of 1, 2nd down and 9. Yeah, Valco is listed as a running back, but he's been a receiver in this game.
Schultz hasn't really had that big of an offensive night with 5 yards on 4 carries.
Under 2 minutes to go, third quarter. The Beat Diggers trail by a touchdown. Playing this game without Connor Weiser, who was injured. And that certainly had an effect on the offense. From the 25-yard line on 2nd and 9. Play action, rolling left. Pressure coming and trying to throw off his back foot, and he will try to throw it away and incomplete. Is that going to be called grounding? I don't think so. Austin Willard was out there. The pressure came from a couple of Beat Diggers, including, I think, that Daniel Soto out there. But that's not a bad call. Austin Willard was out there as the quarterback, Reineck, was retreating towards the 10-yard line and about to get sacked. That was a smart play.
Yeah, that was just a heads-up play there by Reineck. And the only question I had there is I thought maybe they might have had a lineman downfield on the play just because it lasted so long. But number 44 was over there, and that was close to where the ball was going.
Right, and that's Austin Willard. 3rd down and 9 to go for Wray at their own 25-yard line. The Beat Diggers came with pressure. Can they do it again? 2 receivers split each side. from a shotgun. Reineck back to pass, looking over the middle. Powell is tipped, intercepted by Brost. Brost inside the 20, down the right sideline, 10. Brost to the 5, towards the end zone. Is he in? The ball is loose. No, they're going to say that he was down. They're going to say he was down before the ball came loose off the interception by Ethan Brost. The Bead Diggers should have a 1st and goal, and they do. What a big play off the tip. I'm not sure who tipped it for the Bead Diggers at the line of scrimmage, but they've got the ball inside the 5 at about the 2-yard line with a chance to tie this game.
Yeah, I think it was either Woodard or it might have been Felix Calderon that got the tip over there on the right side. But remember, Brost may be a linebacker and a guard, but that guy spent most of his career running the football in that fullback position.
1st and 10 for the Bead Diggers. The football is at the 2-yard line. Yeah, he was tackled from behind. The ball did come loose, but the official did signal that he was down. Looked like early movement. Handoff left side to Carter. He's down right at the line of scrimmage. Maybe he was tackled at the 3. Kind of slipped there. They'll give him no gain. He really never had his feet under him. It'll be 2nd down and goal for the Bead Diggers at the Wray 2-yard line. And that might have been the final play of the 3rd quarter.
Carter was running to his left, needed to plant his left foot to get in the end zone, but the timing wasn't right, so he tried to plant his inside foot, his right foot, and that's what made him have his feet slide out from underneath him.
Check that. And there is a play right up the gut towards the end zone. Trevor Blake on the carry, and I thought we were inside of 10 seconds. We were inside of a minute 10 before that last play. Schwinn made the tackle and basically a gain of about a yard right up the gut. So now we are inside of 30 seconds to go. 3rd and goal from the 1-yard line. This is going to be the hardest yard to gain. And the Bead Diggers will call a timeout. Brought to you by Edwards Wright Price Market in Flowerland at 1201 East Platte Avenue in Fort Morgan. Stop by and get what you need to refuel on game days at Edwards Wright Price Market in Flowerland. So we've had 2 interceptions, one by Brett Bostrom. It took it to the Wray 18-yard line. The Bead Diggers could not score. In fact, they went backwards, and now by Ethan Brost. That went down to the 2. And if you don't convert here, I mean, then you really don't have a chance to win the game because this is easily, well, I shouldn't say easily, but this is their best opportunity, and that's pretty obvious.
Yeah, but they're going to have to go on a no count or on a long count or something because the Eagles are just, I know it's not because they're faster than us, but they're really tuned in to Tremollin's voice, and they're getting off fast. So it's really hard for offensive linemen to make the blocks they need to make.
And it looks like that ball's about the 1.5-yard line or a little bit past the 1. Very similar to where Wray had it when they scored the game's only touchdown. 21 seconds to go in the 3rd. Wray is in the lead 7-0, but the Bead Diggers are knocking on the door after calling their first timeout. And they're up to the line of scrimmage. Tyler Carter and Chris Lee are in the backfield. 3rd and goal just outside the 1. Tormolin dropped the football, now tries to dive on it. Wray says they have the ball, but I think Tormolin fell on it. And that is going to be the final play of the 3rd quarter. It'll be 4th down from the 2. Wray 7, Brush nothing on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com.